Hello, and welcome back to the Spiritual Gangster Podcast. I'm your host, Amanda Pieraldi, and today we're in the space where we have real, raw, and empowering conversations about healing, resilience, growth, and becoming who we're meant to be through the challenges life throws at us. For today's Guest Spotlight Wednesday, we've got someone who has turned adversity into advocacy and pain into purpose. Joining me today is Tami Forster, also known as the Legal System Warrior. Tami is a speaker, advocate, podcast host, and creator of the Warrior Success System, where she empowers people to rise through difficult life experiences, feeling stronger, more confident, and ultimately unbreakable. After spending more than a decade navigating family court and over 100 court hearings, Tami transformed her lived experience into a mission to help others feel less powerless and more empowered through adversity. Today, we're talking about resilience, reclaiming your voice, emotional strength, and what it truly means to rise when life tries to knock you down. Tami, welcome to the Spiritual Gangster Podcast.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You are so welcome. So for listeners meeting you for the first time, who is Tami beyond the titles and the work you do?
Oh, man. Who is Tami? Tami's someone who started out as a small town girl and moved to a big city not realizing what I was in for. And moving to that big city taught me a whole lot that maybe I wasn't ready to learn, but through that actually learned who I'm becoming and who I became.
Oh, that's amazing. So you call yourself the Legal System Warrior. What does that title mean to you personally?
It means a lot to me. It's why I titled myself that way, because it isn't about me being an attorney because I'm not an attorney. I'm an advocate because the one thing that I saw in the system that I got stuck in, expecting that the legal system would actually be justice, was not actually justice. Finding myself in this perpetual cycle of going back to court, going back to court, going back to court for the same request over and over and over as a defendant, fighting for my own kids. And it became absolutely draining. What I encountered was there was nobody to help me. Yeah, I had attorneys, but attorneys get paid.
Yeah, not a real advocate.
They're not a real advocate. So even when I looked up, okay, there's court advocates, I never found one. You go to self-help, they're no help. They don't give you any information. And you go to legal aid, and they'd take all of your personal information and then tell you they couldn't give you any legal advice. So it was this wall that constantly went up against me. And so I had to learn it myself. I represented myself quite a few times.
Wow.
As you could tell by 100 times, you didn't always have an attorney, right? It was very, very expensive. I know today, attorneys are $600, $700 an hour.
Wow.
Even wealthy people, that's a hardship.
Right.
That's just a lot of money. And those aren't the people that end up in court. Usually it's middle-class people that are hardworking, can't take time off from their job. So it affects your work. It affects your finances. It affects your emotional state. It affects your everything. It's
your livelihood, everything.
Everything. I lost 2 homes. I lost my car. I lost my kids. And I almost lost my hope. And so for the Legal System Warrior, that means a lot to me, because for me, I want to be the advocate that I didn't have to the people that are in it so that they don't feel crushed while they're inside that system. And it doesn't just work for the people inside of a legal system. And I've been, sadly, in every kind of court there is, but it really addresses adversity and how to address adversity in a way that isn't crushing, that you can shift your mindset and completely rethink and reshape how you view things. And I think that that's what gets people through. So for me, the Legal System Warrior, that's who I am.
Through and through, that's you. So was there a defining moment where you realized that your pain had the potential to become your purpose?
Yes. I don't know that I realized that till a year ago.
Oh.
Interestingly enough, my children are now almost 21-year-old twins, and my daughter's 23, almost 24.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe that makes me feel old. However, I realized when I took a step out last year was actually, I have to think about that. In January of 2025,
Okay.
yes, I had back fusion.
Ooh.
I moved back home 9 years ago, almost 10, to help my mom and dad with their business. My dad had built a business. He was an entrepreneur for a lot of years, and he was failing. And so I moved back to help my family with the business. And when my dad passed away 6 years ago, my mom didn't want it. That was my dad's dream. So
Yeah.
our goal at that point was to dissolve these businesses and get them sold. So I knew in that period of time, I was going to lose my job. I also knew that my back was failing. So I knew my job was ending. I took the leap to do the back fusion, but that also put me recovering.
Yes.
So what do you do while you recover? You start searching on the internet, playing around, poking around, right? Well, that's when I ran into my mentor. My mentor is Forbes Riley. Forbes Riley is pretty well known in the speaking arena as someone who made a lot of money for other people selling products with her pitch. She's known as the Queen of Pitch.
Okay.
And I took a leap of faith on a video that I saw, and I signed up for this pitch like a pro. Only because at the time I was working on my financial services business. And okay, I don't like salesy. I don't like selling to people.
Yeah.
And it had that negative connotation. So I was like, okay, I'll check it out. We got in the class and it was very interesting, very uplifting, super motivating, great group of people. And she said something that resonated with me again. She had another course. You know, it's like this shiny object thing, hopefully not, right? But
Yeah.
let's check it out. It was called Next Level Speaker. It's instead of talking one-on-one to somebody, why don't you talk one to many? You get more done that way, right? Makes sense to me. I was like, makes sense. Okay, makes sense. So I thought, okay, I'll take the course. It was kind of expensive, but I thought, okay, I'm going to throw myself out there. I've got to rebuild. I don't have anything, right? I'm recovering from the surgery. It's not like I can go get a job. So what am I going to do? So I took this course. It's a 6-month course. In that course, the books that they created for this course actually make you really work inward and start focusing on, what do you really want? I then threw myself at it again because during the course, she threw out that she was having an event. The event was called FredX, play on words for TEDx.
Yeah.
She says, hopefully I don't get in trouble for copyright infringement or something, but she's very funny. And so I took the opportunity to go and meet her.
Wow.
Went to this event. There were only 32 people in the room. I knew that proximity's power. And I knew I needed to get close to this person. Found out she's pretty darn genuine. I call her my sister today. I'm very close to her. She just launched her amazing book, and it's super exciting to be able to see her do that and know that I know her personally, and I know that she really is this genuine, big-hearted person that wants everybody in her community to actually succeed. Then I went to another one. So the first FredX was actually a speaking event. I didn't know that I was going to have to speak on stage. Till 2 weeks before, I went, we have to do a what? Okay, I got to put this speech together and I got to get prepped. And the first day is actually training. So she's breaking down how she does what she does. There were a lot of really like aha moments in those trainings where you go, this isn't as hard as you would think it is. So next day, we had all 32 of us taking the stage one at a time, being recorded, and there would be awards later, right? And I got up there and I told my story. And the night before that, I had met this other gal that I work with that does the Double Impact Live podcast or live show with me. Her name is Dr. Carla Hooker. She's an amazing person. She's very resilient. She is a survivor of sickle cell anemia and thalassemia. She battles every day. She was born with it. And she still gets out there and she still shows up, and she's written, she's an author, she's a speaker, she's amazing. So I was able to meet her and a lot of other amazing people. But the night before the speeches, we had gotten a house. There were 12 of us out of 32 staying in one house. And we all were working on our speeches, trying to find a quiet place with 12 people. And it was a big house, but there wasn't that many quiet places to be. So I went outside. I'm sitting outside, and she had messaged me earlier asking, hey, there's a lot of people over there. She was in a hotel by herself, and she goes, maybe I'll come over and hang out with you guys. So I texted her back and I said, you know what, tonight's probably not a good night because everybody's working on their speeches. I expected her to just text me back. She calls me. We ended up on the phone for an hour and a half. And she said something that really resonated with me because I said, I'm so nervous about my speech. She said, it's not a speech. You're just talking about you.
Telling her story. Yeah.
It's a conversation. And I went, oh. So when I got on the stage, it was just a conversation. And I was able to talk about something that happened to me quite a long time ago when I was 30. That'll age me. But it was called the California AIDS Ride. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Slightly, but let me
The
know.
California AIDS Ride, apparently last year was the last year, which is sad, but it's a fundraiser for HIV and AIDS.
Mhm.
It's a bicycle ride
Oh,
from San Francisco to Los Angeles.
wow.
530 some odd miles in 7 days. I don't know what possessed me because at 30 years old, I didn't own a road bike. I didn't know how to ride a road bike. And I didn't know that we were going to have to raise money. So I had to raise $2,500, learn how to buy a road bike, and learn how to ride a road bike, right? Before ever going on this event. And on top of that, they told us, you might want to do at least 2 century rides, 100 miles, before you do this ride to know what it feels like. So we had to do that. That was a big undertaking because I was working full time at the time too.
Would be.
Wow. We're just going to do it. My friend and I were like, let's do it. You're young.
Yeah.
And so we did it. We raised the money. We had different little events and we raised the money and we went on this ride. There were over 2,000 people on that ride. And the motto was eat, sleep, ride. And that was really true. That was absolutely the truth. It was, you got on your bike and you rode and you ate and you slept and you got up and you did it again. And you had
Incredible.
to your own flat tires and you had to take, they set it up as very much a professional ride. So they had, cars, patrol cars that would drive around, making sure that everybody was okay. And if you weren't, you could get in the car and go to the next place and wait till the next day, recuperate. Because it wasn't a race. It was a ride.
Right.
And I remember times there was a gentleman that was in the race or the ride. He didn't have any legs.
My goodness.
He had a bike that was designed to ride with his hands.
That's
And
amazing.
so I'm riding by him one day and I'm struggling and I looked over, man, if he can do it, I can do it.
Perspective, man.
So that's just resilience in me, right? I finished that ride. We rode in at the end of that week into a parade and celebrated that we finished this ride. It was an amazing thing. Big accomplishment in my life. And it taught me a ton about resilience before I ever ended up in the situation I never thought I would be in. And that was in the court system. My partner and I had a sperm donor that was going to be the gentleman that would be the dad to my kids. And it didn't work out that way. Everything seemed fine. He was very supportive. Everything was good for the first little bit, couple years. But then he started being a little more persistent about he wanted his name on their name. These were conversations we had had prior to. They were all agreed upon. And the next thing I knew, I was getting a piece of paper saying I was in default. Now he had filed. I didn't know he filed anything. I knew he'd filed for name change. That's what I thought he was filing for. He didn't do that. He filed for everything. I had no idea. I went in to the courthouse one day trying to figure out what this document I got that said default meant. I had no idea what the term was. I didn't know anything about court. Small town kid, went to Southern California, don't know a thing. Happy-go-lucky, everybody's nice and trust everybody. That was me. I'm like, what is this? So I finally had a day where I could go do this. I was on a field trip with my sons and he called me up and we were kosher. Everything was good, I thought. And he turned around, he said, "Hey, I got to work late. Can you keep the kids?" Because he was supposed to take them. So I took them with me to the courthouse. Mind you, they were almost 3 at this point. I went to the courthouse and I asked about the information on my document. And they said, "Oh, there was a hearing today." I said, "What?" They said, "There was a hearing today." I said, "For what?" They said, "Well, we can't tell you that. You have to wait for a week and we can get you the transcripts." So I had to wait. I had no idea. So I'm for a week not knowing what did he just do, only to find out a week later that he had filed for full custody of my sons. Now I'm in the battle for my life because what I found out was default means I have no say.
Wow.
There's only one thing that saved him from not getting that day. And that was that my sons had 2 last names, neither of which were his. So he had to file against my partner as well. So there was a little bit of time to go, okay, I got to do something to get out of this. That snowballed into 10 years of going to court over and over and over and over. He would file. I mean, if you do the math, that was pretty much 1 hearing a month, minimally. In that time frame, my partner left me. I had to move. Where I moved, a year and a half after that, I had bed bugs. I had to move again. So there's all these things happening that are going on. And later down the road, I'm going to write a book about the whole thing because there's way too much to talk about in one sitting. But ultimately what happened was I didn't have anywhere to live anymore and I moved. That created a whole nother problem and ultimately caused me to lose my kids for 8 months.
Oh my goodness.
On lies, they weren't true, but the bottom line is that I had to fight for my life with my kids and work through these issues that were coming up. And I remember one time it wasn't going very well. And I was trying to control everything. And I think that's where we get stuck as people, is we try to control our lives. But we don't have a lot of control over our lives. We don't control other people. We don't control what goes on in that business or over here, whatever, or someone else's kids, or all of these different scenarios that happen during life. But we try to. And what you'll find is you keep stumbling because you can't. And it's frustrating and you get more frustrated and more irritated. And I found I'm just getting very angry, which I was never an angry person. And I became somebody I didn't like. So I decided, because it was affecting my kids a lot. And that was very hard. It tore my kids apart. My sons and my daughter ended up, actually, they never lived together again after she was 10 and she's 23 now. So, but we have a very good relationship today. Ultimately, it came full circle and I'm very grateful for that. But to find yourself in a situation like that, where you've got people giving you opinions, advice, etc., in such a very issue, it wasn't the typical, right? I mean, it wasn't some cut and dried divorce. It wasn't some cut and dried custody case. I was in 3 different cases all at once.
Wow.
And still working and still doing all the things that I need to do and losing these things that were happening. And I remember the one case that I went to the one day and I walked out and I went to my car. I said, "Okay, Lord, I can't do this anymore. You do it. I'm done. I can't control the situation. I don't know what to do. I'm completely at a loss. Everything seems to be going the wrong way." Something really interesting happened at that point. I always wondered what peace was. You hear that word peace. What is that? I know what that is today. Because when I gave up control and I did what my mom always used to say, let go and let God.
Yep.
She still does. She's still alive. Something happened. It didn't go away. The problems were still there. Everything was still an issue. I still had to fight. But I could take the steps without falling apart.
That's
And
amazing.
that's peace. And I think that was one of the biggest turning points for me. But I grew up in a very strong Christian home where my mom and my dad gave me that foundation. And so to reach out and be able to do that was really having to give up control.
Yeah, letting go is hard.
give up give up on thinking that I know best for my life, right? I think is hard for a lot of people. But when you start to realize that there are only certain things that you can control and you work on those and you change the way you think about things, like, I'll give you a great example. You go to a grocery store and you got a clerk who's being a jerk. Well, he's just a jerk, right? Maybe he's not just a jerk. You have no idea what's going on in his life today.
Exactly.
So can you turn that around? Yeah, you really
Okay.
can. And you don't have to take it to heart. It's not personal to you. I think we take things as such a personal attack. Mine certainly was a
Mhm.
personal attack. But to be able to turn it around and go, okay, you know what? I don't have to allow him to continue to beat me up through his words and through his behavior and let him win by that. I don't have to. You go do that. That's fine. You
Yeah,
continue with your tantrums and your whatever. And I'm just going to be cool cucumber. Okay. Learn to behave in a manner that benefits you
right.
rather than hurts you. And there's a lot to be said for that. I've got so many stories that happened. I can't even begin to, go through all of those, but it was an absolute difficult situation to go through. But the bicycle ride definitely set the stage for that.
Wow.
And I'm grateful for that. Little did I know, I was just thinking I'm crazy for doing this, but okay, cool. And it did allow me a lot of ability to be more resilient for 10 years, a long time, long time.
So a big part of your message is becoming unbothered and unbreakable. What does that actually look like in everyday life?
I actually just started a series of videos that I'm posting on TikTok. And unbothered doesn't really mean you don't ever get bothered.
Right.
You do get bothered,
Yeah,
but don't hang on to it.
exactly.
Don't let it control you. Don't let it ruin your day. They say, oh, my day's ruined. No, it isn't. That's in your head.
Not a bad moment, not a bad day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad moment, a bad second, a bad whatever. But deal with it, move on. Be unbothered by that. Let it roll off your back, my dad used to say. He was very good at not letting things get to him. I think that's a big factor in who I am today, is a lot of how my dad was. Unbreakable. Unbreakable is again continuing to get up. I heard I was listening to a pastor, Stephen Furtick, who I like to listen to. He said something very, very, very interesting one day that I was like, wow, okay, I feel so much better about this. He said, if you feel like you're somebody that just keeps getting stuff thrown at them, that's because Satan's afraid of you, because you keep getting back up. And I went, all right.
All right.
I feel better about it because I've been through a whole darn lot.
Right.
And so for me, unbreakable is really just keep getting up.
Yeah.
Keep getting up. Don't let it break you. And unstoppable really is having goals, having some sort of direction, knowing. I think people miss that mark so much. Oh, I can only handle one day at a time. Okay, but where are you going?
Which direction? Yeah.
Use a GPS in the car, right? Why? So we know where we're going. We used to use Thomas Maps before GPS, right?
Exactly.
But we know where we were going, right? That ages me too, but I could show that to my son. He'd be like, what is that thing, right? He has no idea. But to be able to have a direction and know that's where you're headed. I mean, your attitude determines your direction, ultimately.
Absolutely.
And without goals, you don't have a destination.
No, you really don't. So, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned about boundaries, self-worth, and confidence?
Ooh, boundaries have always been an issue for me. That's so funny. That was one of the biggest things, all these counselors that they put me with, and oh, you need to work on your boundaries. That was like the the big thing, because I was such a laid back, easygoing, wanted everybody to like me. Don't really care if I'm not trying to impress. It was never about, I just liked people and I liked being around people and I wanted people to like me. And so I just let people kind of walk on me a lot.
Yeah. You let those boundaries slide. Yeah.
Yeah. And I even into not that long ago, and really realizing, again, I think in this training that I've been through and working with Forbes and her community and the people that I've met, it's an amazing thing. I literally changed my life in a year. And to look back and go, wow, that's crazy. My sister says, do you remember what you said when you woke up from surgery? I said, no, I was medicated. Why would I remember that? Right? And she says, you said you needed new friends. I said, I do remember saying that.
You knew.
I
Yeah.
have a totally different network of friends today than I did then,
Then
a
look at
year
where
ago.
it's taking you now.
Right.
Right.
Because what I realized is it is about, Jim Rohn says it. I don't know if you're familiar with Jim Rohn. He's a famous speaker. The 5 people closest to you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. You are.
You emulate. They are. You are who
Yep.
you are around. And
You are the
I
company
was
to keep.
around a lot of people
Absolutely.
that were takers, just takers. And they knew I had a big heart and they knew that I would help them because I have that compassionate part of me. But learning to redirect and pick up on people that won't do that to me, that are on the same level, that only look to lift each other up. You know, Forbes Riley's daughter says, fear of competition is a fool's game.
Yeah.
And I love that because people do. They feel like they got to compete. Why? There's a lot
Yeah,
out
there's a
here.
lot of room at the top.
I was just listening to Myron Golden. He's another millionaire that I like to listen to. And he said, you know, people say, well, I don't want to get too rich. I want to leave some for other people. That's like walking around thinking, I'm going to hold my breath because I don't want to take up all the air. That's crazy.
Right?
It's a crazy thought. And I thought, wow. So the more I listen to that type of thing, and the more I realize it really is in my capacity, in my head,
Hmm.
in my mindset to change my world out here by working in here. That's really what I want to teach people and what I want to advocate for so that they can reframe their lives.
Life's
Because
challenge. Yeah.
we're in a bad generational era.
Yeah. It's kind of in some rough times. Yeah.
It's a rough. Well, I watched my kids go through COVID. My kids definitely were COVID kids. 9th grade, first year in high school,
Yeah. But
halfway through COVID hit.
my son was in
They
kindergarten.
were out of
I'm like,
a year
whoa.
and a half. They were at school for a year and a half. I'm a single mom and I'm trying to go to work and trying to watch them and try to and they were teenagers getting in
Uh-huh.
trouble, doing dumb stuff, right? And it was very difficult because they kind of almost learned how to be not social,
Yeah, absolutely.
not really disconnecting from the world. And I see it a lot. My mom said I should have had a sign over my door said "Wayward Home for Boys" because I not only had twins, but I took in a lot of my kids' friends because their parents had trouble or they had trouble at home or whatever. So for about 6 years probably, was taking in these kids. I had one that stayed with me for 6 years. I had another one that stayed for about 2 years. I had one that stayed for almost a year and another one that stayed a year.
Oh,
You know, and
wow.
all these kids that are growing up in a different environment than their original home, trying to give them that space on my limited income, but it mattered to me. I really had a heart for serving them in teaching them how to be a different human being rather than that hardship that they went through. And that attributes to what I went through. It really does.
So, if you could go back and speak to yourself at the beginning of this journey, what would you say?
Uh, I tell Forbes this. I think it's funny because I've kind of gone full circle. She didn't teach me how to be somebody new. She taught me how to go back to being who I was.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't care. As a kid, I just wanted to be helpful to but I've learned the boundaries that I didn't have as a kid. Those are different.
Yeah.
So I'm more mature in that. But learning to be a kid again and just not worry about so many things. The Bible itself says it. I don't mean to preach, but the fact of the matter is the Bible says, don't worry. Tomorrow's another day. There's enough for today.
Yeah.
Why are we doing that to ourselves? You're beating your head against the wall doing that kind of thing. So I focus on just every day, just doing what I need to do and one step at a time.
Yeah. That's all you can do.
It's funny. I started with this whole video series. I've only done 3, but I find myself doing it when I'm walking. Why? Because it's about putting one foot in front of the other.
Ooh, I like that.
And that's my unbothered, unbreakable, and unstoppable. You have to keep moving.
That's beautiful.
The only way there is forward.
Yeah,
You don't
absolutely.
stop it. I think it's funny. I've always told my kids one of my favorite phrases. I don't even know where I got it, but it's the only thing that stays the same is change.
Ain't that the truth?
It's a really hard thing for people.
Oh,
They don't like
absolutely.
it. We hate change, but
No. Yeah,
that's inevitable.
it is inevitable. It's one of those things in life that we just need to learn to accept, that change is inevitable.
If you again, you reframe your mind to looking at it as a positive instead of a negative, it's actually a really good thing.
I think it's all in the reframe, for sure.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So I wanna know what lights you up the most about the work that you're doing today?
Huh. I love that I've seen one of my sons lives at home still with me. I've watched it change him.
Oh, that's so nice.
That that's everything to me. I don't want my kids. We get asked this in our training and everything else. What are some of you? What is your why?
Yeah,
What's your why? And everybody should have a why. I
absolutely.
think so many people walk through life just like zombies. They don't have a why. They don't. Oh, just one day at a time. Okay, what does that mean? Oh, I'm above the dirt today. What does that mean? I mean, that's really not being very positive about your life. Everybody has a purpose. I truly believe that. But you have to be willing to accept it in order to achieve it. And so for me, my why is absolutely wanting my kids to understand that you don't have to be mediocre. You can change that.
Yeah.
You can change your environment. You can change the way you think, the way you react. You don't change other people,
No,
right?
but what you
I
do
mean,
have control over, yeah, you have control over the trajectory.
that's it. And I think so many people don't believe that. That's just life. No, it isn't.
No.
That's just the life you chose to accept.
Yeah, that's it, and sometimes that's a hard truth.
It is a hard truth. But if you can confront that and you can say, okay, yep, it's really me. I could look back and I could point the finger, their dad, their this, their that, their whoever made my life miserable. I chose those people.
Yeah,
I let them be in my life. That's my fault. I have to change that. I have to draw those boundaries. And I think that's huge in really accepting that that's your fault. That's something you need to address internally for you to be able to move forward, to take that step, to keep taking those steps and moving forward in your life. If you want to stay where you are, stay where you are. If you don't, you have to change the way you think.
something's gotta
Forbes
give.
says, oh, something's got to give. Forbes says, believe it, achieve it, believe it, dream it, believe it, achieve it. And I think it's very funny because people dream all the time, right? What are your dreams? Oh, I wish I could. Why are you just wishing?
Wishing, yeah, why are you wishing? Do.
Oh, my dreams are okay, but if all you do is dream, you never do achieve it, right? So you have to dream it and believe it to achieve
Mhm.
it.
That's right.
And I just started believing and becoming. Legal system warrior wasn't the first thing. Actually, when I went to the first FredEx, I did a whole speech on my financial services. And it was ironic because she did this thing where she walks around. It's a very profound exercise. You have to write down what you would like to ask God. And then you write down what the answer is, what came to you.
Ooh, I like that.
And the other thing, so that was profound. That was an amazing exercise. And the other thing was we all had to be known as something. Well, I didn't know that till I got in the room, and I'm thinking, known as, I don't know. So she's going around with a microphone. I'm going, I gotta put something down, right? So I said, Middle America Moneymaker, dumb. I'm like, that's not who I am. But going through the process with her, I didn't go to one FredEx. I went back and I did a second one. And between those two, something changed in me. And I became the legal system warrior. Because it's when I decided, really, I want to be that advocate that I didn't have. Whether that be for someone in a broken system or someone just broken. It doesn't really matter. Because we're only as broken as we allow ourselves to be.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So what does empowerment truly mean to you now?
Taking control of how you react to your world, to your surroundings. You don't have any other control. Empowerment is really realizing that you don't control anything else. Just you.
Yep.
Every day, all day. Looking in the mirror, you have to be happy with you.
Mm.
Empowering yourself to understand that you have a purpose, that you mean something, that you were designed in the image of God, and you matter for something. We all have a purpose. Finding that purpose and actually reaching out, lifting each other up is the best thing that could happen in this world, and you see it less and less. So to find a community like I found with Forbes, that's all we all do. That's an amazing feeling. And it does empower you to be able to say, hey, you know what? I can do anything I put my mind to.
Yeah. I can achieve anything.
You know, I have a purpose. What is that? Everybody has something, you know. Not everybody wants to be a speaker on stage.
Everybody.
But for me, I have a message. The system's broken, but you don't have to be broken in it.
That's beautiful. So what's one thing that you hope listeners remember from today's conversation?
I think the most important thing for the listeners would be empowered. Take back the control in how you react to the world, not in how the world reacts to you. You can't change those things, but you can change you. And be happy with who you are. It's who you're supposed to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So where can everyone connect with you and follow your work?
I have a website that's going to be up in 2 weeks. It is www.thelegalsystemwarrior.com.
Okay, wonderful.
I have my Facebook. Both my Facebooks are under Tami Forster. You can look me up under Tami Forster. You'll find me all over
And we'll
the
put the
place.
links in the show notes as well.
You can certainly DM me there. I'm on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn, all under Tami Forster. I may change that here in a little bit, but it's still going to have Tami Forster on there because I think it's important that people have it easy to find you.
Oh, absolutely.
And most people go by your name.
Yep.
So my name will be attached on everything. I'm not just the legal system warrior. I'm Tami Forster, the legal.
Yeah, that's who you are. Okay, wonderful. Well, Tami, thank you so much for coming on the Spiritual Gangster podcast and sharing your story so openly and honestly today. I think so many people are going to take strength, validation, and hope from our conversation.
Thank you for having me.